The morning arrives before the city is ready for it. A pale light spreads slowly across the streets of São Paulo, touching the tops of buildings still half asleep. Somewhere in the distance, a bus engine starts. Then another. But here, in this small corner of the neighborhood, everything still feels suspended. You walk without hurry. Same route. Same time. Same silence. The bakery door is already open. It always is. A soft bell sounds as you enter. Inside, the air is warmer. Heavier. Filled with the smell of fresh bread and coffee that's been brewing for just long enough. The man behind the counter doesn't ask anything. He just nods. Not because he is distracted, but because he already knows. Black coffee. 1 pau Francis. Butter. Always the same. You don't look at the menu. You don't need to. You take your place near the window. Outside, the city starts to move a little faster. Motorcycles passing. A school uniform crossing the street. A delivery truck stopping for just a second too long. Life repeating itself in small variations. You watch without really focusing on anything. Until the coffee arrives. Simple. Steaming. Familiar. You hold the cup for a moment before drinking. Not because it's special, but because this pause always feels necessary. Your phone vibrates. Once. It stays on the table. Unanswered. For now. The first sip always comes before the world. Only then do you reach for it. A single notification. No urgency in the tone. Just information. A quiet update from your family office. Another company quietly outperformed expectations. You read it without expression. Not surprise. Not excitement. Just confirmation. You lock the screen again. And for a few seconds, nothing changes. The coffee is still warm. The city is still waking up. And no one in this bakery would ever guess that the numbers behind that notification move more money in a day than most people will see in a lifetime. You finish the coffee. Leave a simple thank you. Step outside. The bell sounds again behind you. And the city continues to ignore you exactly the way it always has. Your car is still there. Nothing about it attracts attention. And that is the point. You get in. Close the door. And only then. The world behind the glass finally remembers what you are carrying. $450 million. Hidden in plain sight. In a country where everything eventually becomes visible. You learned how to disappear. The city begins to stretch itself wider as you leave the neighborhood behind. Traffic slowly thickens, like the world is waking up in layers. A motorcycle passes too close to your window. Someone honks in the distance. A bus stops, releases a wave of people, and moves on without hesitation. Inside the car, everything is quieter than it should be. The engine runs smoothly. Almost too smoothly for the chaos outside. You don't rush. You never do. The route is the same as it was yesterday. And the day before that. A rhythm the city never questions. At a traffic light, the world pauses around you. A man on the sidewalk sells bottled water from a small cooler. A woman checks her phone without looking up. A child presses his face against a bus window as it passes. Life continues in fragments. Your phone lights up again. This time, you glance at it while waiting for the light to change. Another message. Another update. Another number moving quietly in the background of your life. You don't open it immediately. Instead, you look forward. At the intersection. At the flow of people crossing without noticing each other. There is something almost comforting about it. The anonymity. Not yours alone. Everyone's. The light turns green. The car moves. Slowly at first. Then with the rhythm of the road. You pass buildings you've seen hundreds of times. But never fully noticed. A bakery with a broken sign. A small office with mirrored glass. A gas station that always feels slightly too bright. Nothing calls for attention. And that is exactly why it works. Your phone vibrates again. You finally unlock it. A short report. One of your holdings quietly increased its valuation overnight. No announcement. No celebration. Just movement. invisible to everyone except the people who understand what those numbers mean. You lock the screen again and place the phone back down. Outside, Sao Paulo continues to unfold in front of you. Large, unpredictable, alive. But none of it feels directed at you. You are inside it, not above it, not apart from it, just moving with it. A car cuts in front of you. You let it. There is no reason not to. Time is not something you chase anymore. It's something you observe. The skyline begins to shift. Buildings become taller, straighter, colder. The city is changing tone, without announcing it, like it always does. Ahead, the office district slowly emerges. And without needing to say it, the next part of your day is already waiting for you. The building doesn't announce itself. No flags, no logos that matter. Just glass, steel, and silence organized into architecture. You arrive a few minutes early. As always, the security guard looks up, nods. Not out of formality, out of habit. He already knows your name, but he never says it out loud. The elevator ride is quiet. No music. No display of floors in a dramatic way. Just a soft rise. A transition that feels less like movement and more like separation. From the city. From noise. From everything that doesn't belong here. When the doors open, the atmosphere changes. Not visually, but mentally. Everything is slower, cleaner, more intentional. A woman at the reception stands as you approach. She doesn't ask what you need. She simply gestures toward the corridor. Your name is already inside the system. Inside decisions that were made hours before you arrived. You walk past glass rooms where conversations happen without urgency. Numbers on screens that never stop moving. People speaking in low voices about things that will never appear in headlines. This is not a place of wealth. It is a place of management, of continuity, of invisibility. You enter a private room. A long table. A screen already prepared. No presentation music. No theatrics. Just information. One of your managers is already speaking. Calm. Precise. He doesn't explain things for effect. He explains because every detail matters. A company in logistics. Another in agriculture. A small tech holding you acquired years ago. Nothing dramatic. Nothing emotional. Just performance. And movement. Always movement. A number appears on the screen. It increases quietly. No one reacts. Not because it is small, but because reaction is not part of the culture here. You lean back slightly, listening more than watching. The room continues speaking without raising its voice. And in the middle of it all, there is a strange contrast. Outside these walls, people are starting their day thinking about bills, rent, transportation, time. Inside this room, time is not something you manage. It is something you allocate. A decision, not a pressure. The meeting continues. Different assets, different countries, different outcomes, all connected to a life that most people will never see. And yet, nothing about this room feels like excess. No gold, no marble, no performance of success. Only control. Quiet, precise, invisible. When the meeting ends, there is no applause. No summary speech. Just closure. People stand. Collect their notes. The screen goes dark. And just like that, a few $100 million of movement has been discussed in the same tone used to describe tomorrow's weather. You leave the room the same way you entered. Without announcement. Without change in expression. The elevator takes you back down. Floor by floor. Returning you to a world where none of this exists in plain sight. Outside, the city is still there. Still loud. Still unaware. And for a moment, you exist in both worlds at the same time. But only one of them knows who you are. The office door closes behind you, and the weight of the building disappears almost instantly. Outside again. Back in the city. The noise returns slowly. At first as a distance, then as presence, then as life. You don't go anywhere special for lunch. You never do. A short drive. A familiar place. The kind of restaurant that doesn't try to impress anyone. Just feeds people who are in between things. The waiter recognizes you. Not in a way that demands conversation. Just enough to know your preferences. You sit by the window. Always the same table. Not because it is reserved, but because no one ever thinks to take it. Outside, the sidewalk continues its routine. People passing. Phones in hands. Cars stopping and starting without rhythm. Life happening in fragments again. The menu doesn't need attention. You already know what you will order. The same thing you've ordered for years. Not out of habit, but out of choice. Simplicity removes decisions. And decisions are something you've learned to conserve. The food arrives. Nothing special. Nothing photographed. Just real. Warm. Present. For a few minutes, there is only this. No reports. No numbers. No meetings waiting in another building. Just a plate. A glass of water. And the sound of the city moving outside the window. A child laughs at another table. A couple argues quietly over something unimportant. A delivery man steps inside, still wearing his helmet. Life, in its unfiltered version. You take a slow bite. And for a moment, nothing in your world requires you to be anyone. Your phone stays face down on the table. Not ignored. Just not invited. After a while, it vibrates once. You don't react immediately. You finish the bite first. Then you turn it over. Another update. Another number shifting somewhere in the background of your life. You read it. And like always, it means nothing emotionally. Only structurally. A piece of information inside a system that never stops moving. You lock the screen again. And look out the window. A bus passes slowly. People inside are silent. Each one inside their own small urgency. You wonder, not for the first time, how different life really is. Depending on what you never have to think about. The bill arrives. You pay without hesitation. Not because it is small, but because it is irrelevant. The waiter thanks you. You nod. And stand up. The chair moves slightly. The sound is barely noticeable. But it marks the end of something. Not the meal. The moment. Outside, the sun feels stronger now. The city is fully awake. And your day is only halfway through. The city slowly disappears behind you. Glass buildings turn into open space. Traffic becomes rare. Noise becomes distant. And at some point, there is only road. Long. Straight. Uninterrupted. The kind of road that makes time feel different. Your driver doesn't speak. He never needs to. The car moves with quiet confidence across kilometers of countryside. Fields stretch farther than the eye needs to go. The sky feels larger here. Less compressed. More honest. At some point, your phone loses signal. And you don't even notice immediately. Because nothing requires you to be reachable. Not here. The road bends slightly. And then you see it. Not announced. Not framed. Just present. A vast property. Not a mansion trying to be seen from the road. But land that exists because it was meant to be used, not displayed. Fences follow natural lines instead of forcing geometry. Trees interrupt the horizon without permission. And everything feels slow. The car stops near an entrance that doesn't try to impress anyone. A gate opens. Not dramatically. Just efficiently. You enter. The world changes texture. The air feels different. Not better. Just different. A man greets you near the entrance. He doesn't rush. He doesn't ask unnecessary questions. He already knows why you're here. You nod. And continue forward. The property reveals itself in layers. Not all at once. First the open fields. Then distant structures. Then movement, workers maintaining something that does not need explanation. This is not a place of luxury. It is a place of scale. Of production. of patience, of time measured in seasons instead of hours. You step out of the car. The silence here is not empty. It is full. Full of wind. Full of distance. Full of things growing without being watched. A manager approaches. He carries a simple tablet. No presentation. No theatrics. Just updates. Rain patterns. Soil conditions. Harvest projections. Logistics. Numbers tied to land, not screens. You listen without interruption. Occasionally nodding. Not because you are impressed, but because this is simply part of the system you exist inside. A system most people will never see. A system that doesn't need attention to function. You walk for a few minutes. No destination. Just movement through your own property. Somewhere far in the field, workers continue their routine. They don't look toward you. Not out of disrespect, but because nothing about you demands attention. And that is the entire point. Your phone vibrates again. But there is no urgency here. So you don't check it. Not immediately. Instead, you keep walking. The ground is uneven in small ways that remind you this is real land. Not decoration. Not simulation. Real geography. Real time. Real consequences. After a while, you finally glance at the screen. Another update. Another quiet shift in numbers that represent something far larger than what can be seen. You lock the screen again. And look out across the property. There is no skyline here. No traffic. No noise. Only distance. And for a brief moment, you understand something very simple. Wealth at this scale is not about what you own. It is about what you no longer need to prove. The sun is lower now. Not gone, but softer. The kind of light that makes everything feel slower than it is. The car leaves the open land behind and begins its return. No urgency. No reason to hurry. The road feels longer in a different way now. Not physically. Emotionally. Like the day is stretching itself before it ends. When you arrive, the house doesn't announce your return. It never does. There are no sounds of expectation. No movement waiting for you. Just space. Waiting. Inside, the air is still. Controlled without being cold. Quiet without being empty. You don't turn on unnecessary lights. The house adjusts subtly to presence, not command. You place your keys down. A simple sound. Almost nothing. But enough to mark arrival. A phone vibrates once again. You look at it. And for the first time today, you don't feel the need to delay it. Another update. Another shift in numbers that represent decisions made across countries you didn't physically visit today. You read it. And then, you do nothing with it. No reaction. No conversation. No follow-up. Just information. And then silence again. You walk toward the terrace. The door slides open without resistance. Outside, the world is no longer loud. It is distant. The city exists somewhere beyond the horizon, but it no longer competes for your attention. The air is different here. Not luxurious. Just yours. You sit. Not because you are tired, but because there is nowhere else you need to be. A glass of water on the table remains untouched for a few moments. The sky changes slowly in front of you. No urgency. No interruption. Just transition. And in that space, something subtle becomes clear. Not as a thought, but as a feeling. You could be anywhere in the world right now. But you chose this. Not the money. Not the structure. Not the system behind it. This quiet moment, where nothing is demanding anything from you. Your phone remains on the table, face down. For the first time today, it feels optional. You look out toward the distance. And everything that defined your day, the bakery, the city, the office, the meetings, the land, all of it feels connected. Not by wealth, but by invisibility, by control, by silence. A silence most people never experience, because they are always being seen. The sky darkens slightly, not dramatically, just naturally. And you realize something that doesn't need to be said out loud. Wealth was never the point of any of this. It was only the tool. The real thing you built was a life where nothing needs to prove itself anymore. A long pause. No narration forcing meaning. Just the sound of the evening. And then, cut to black.